I like the notion that how things fall with Aaron Rodgers could directly affect what the Giants do, which could make a couple of players available to the Patriots in the draft, Andrew. That's some good thinking right there.
Yes, this is, if you talk about plan A, this is wish number one for the Patriots. 2 quarterbacks ahead of you. Cleveland still doesn't have one, though Myles Garrett apparently knows the plan, and that might be Shedeur, so he might not even fall to the Giants. The Giants might have to go up and get Cam Ward, but yeah, that's the deal, is that you would get to pick between one of Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, and I've watched and rewatched and broken down every snap of the Patriots offense. I get the left tackle hole. It's really big, and it's really problematic. You cannot pass on Travis Hunter or Abdul Carter if you're the Patriots and they fall to 4. Yeah. And it looks a little bit more likely today, or I'd say this week, than to me it did 3-4 weeks ago when we're going Hunter and Carter are the only blue chip prospects in this class.
I looking at a lot of mock drafts, Bert, and again, we're late in the game and everyone's really tired of posting these, so they go wild with wild scenarios. But I saw Mel Kiper and Daniel Jeremiah do the exact same thing and put Shedeur Sanders in the top 3. Is that a thing? Is that really a possibility?
I think Shedeur Sanders could go in the top 3. I think he could fall out of the first round.
Jesus.
And you want to talk about
if he doesn't go in the top 3,
and you want to talk about turning a blah draft into all of a sudden the most entertaining thing ever.
Well, is that? But is
imagine first take on the morning of April the 25th if Shedeur Sanders still hasn't been drafted.
Is that the scenario though? If he doesn't go in the top 3, he falls out of the first round.
Not impossible.
Jesus.
I mean, and that's the thing is that it can be volatile with quarterbacks because once you get past a certain point, you start to getting to the teams that have quarterbacks and that don't need them, and so like they're going to value him much different. Like, you know, you start to get into Detroit and Buffalo, like those teams probably aren't taking him. You know, so like this can happen. Yes.
Wow. Okay. Good stuff. They wouldn't both be available, but between Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter, you're the Patriots. Which one would you prefer?
Travis Hunter's my answer,
Mm-hmm.
and it's
Mine
not
too.
just the positional thing. Like Abdul Carter, I watched more Penn State than most college teams, and I spent a lot of time on Saturdays watching college football. But Travis Hunter has all-pro potential sooner than Carter does. Could play receiver. It's just like the simplest scouting report on him. This kid can ball out. Like, he's just an unbelievably natural and fluid athlete. Forget the fact he plays both sides. Pick one. He's at the top of their board, according to Mass Live, as a receiver in a corner. Give me that guy. Generational college player who's going to be a pro wherever he wants to play, and perhaps an all-pro.
Before you see him play, practice, do anything, and first of all, do you agree with that?
I go with Carter.
You would go with Abdul Carter.
I just think like he's got his first step, his explosiveness, and you've seen it. Like I hesitate to make the comparison to Micah Parsons because it's the same school and it's the same number and it's the legacy and all. But
it's Micah Parsons.
But that Swiss Army knife, like he was an off-ball linebacker his first 2 years. Like he was playing stack linebacker as a freshman and sophomore and transitioned to being an edge rusher this year and was the best one in the country.
Oh, come on. Swiss Army. Travis Hunter plays both sides of the ball, Bert.
But here's the thing.
He's a corkscrew. He's got the scissors.
I think if you add Abdul Carter to the defense, now all of a sudden it's Carter, Milton Williams, Christian Barmore, Harold Landry on the defensive line. You've got the two you could wind up being, I think if you have a premier edge rusher, and it's a lot to ask a guy to be that as a rookie, but you could get really good on defense pretty quick. Whereas I think with Hunter, I would take Hunter too. Like, don't get me wrong here. I'm not saying don't take I would take Hunter or Carter, period. If either of them are on the board, no questions asked. I wouldn't even think about it.
And that's the right take. Like when we're picking one or another, I'm not saying picking Carter would be dumb. But the other part of the context is you've heard the same thing. It's one of the deepest defensive line classes they've seen in 10 years.
Yeah,
if
so
I
you
take
get
a
an edge rusher in
receiver,
the second round.
get him in the second round, trade back into the end of the first. Right now, it's looking like Travis Hunter, Tet McMillan, or a bunch of slot and Z guys. They need an X. Travis Hunter would be an X.
So here's what the thing with Hunter too. So two things. Number one, the comparisons I've heard are ridiculous. It's Stephon Diggs, Devontae Smith on offense. It's Darius Slay on defense, which is insane to think that it's the same guys fits both comps, right? I think one interesting piece of context that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about is how he was used at Colorado, and not on Saturday, but the rest of the week. And this is part of why I think most people look at it and say you have to play him full-time on defense. It's harder to play a guy full-time on offense and spot him on defense than the other way around, because you can't moonlight. You can't package a guy on defense, right? Like, he has to be part of the game plan. And there are so many adjustments and things like that you're doing on the fly that it's really hard to play a guy part-time on defense.
Right. I don't know, though. Because if you're playing man-to-man coverage, which this would be a big tell.
Which
every
if you're
time
doing that, yeah.
and they're going to play a lot of man.
Yeah.
They signed Carlton Davis to be a
Right.
number 2. And if you're learning the whole offense as a receiver, I mean, we've heard so much about Josh McDaniels over the years, and it just builds out and out and out, and the checks and the sight adjustments and your different options that could be up to 5 or 6 routes in a single play. If you moonlight in a dime package, we're like, hey, we're going to play man or you're going to blitz. That, to me, is the simplest path. I see it the other way.
Here's the problem, though, is like there's a lot more game planning that like when you're on offense, you're dictating to the defense. So like when you're on offense and you're an offensive coach, you're looking at I can work him in because we're dictating to the defense. A defensive player has to go in and like watch a zillion hours of tape every week to get ready to play for all the different things that an offense is going to do to him. And that's what makes it difficult to package a defensive player, because they have to be ready for whatever is going to get thrown their way. It's a difficult proposition for a rookie. And at Colorado, and I think this is a really, when it comes to the Patriots, a really fascinating piece of context. At Colorado the last 2 years, he was practicing as a defensive player. He was meeting as a defensive player. He was not really developed as a receiver to the level he was on defense. And so you're still getting somebody who like was super productive and has all of this room left to grow because he wasn't doing all those things. So I look at it like this, like Andrew, and I think this is what's really interesting. Your need right now is on offense, not on defense, right? Start him on offense. And if he can do something on defense, that's a bonus the first year, right? And develop. Okay, we're gonna focus on making you the best receiver we can. We'll cross train you some at corner, but we're gonna make you the best receiver we can, and you're gonna help us fill this need right now. And you know what? In 2026, if you want to flip it, you can flip it. It's just having that many cracks at making this guy into a blue chip player is such a unique thing.
Convince him after a year you're not a receiver anymore. Now you're a corner. That'd be an interesting conversation.
He catches 100 balls for 1,200 yards. Nope, sorry.
But he wants to play both ways. Like,
I know.
Really,
you were talking about primarily being a quarterback in the second year.
This is a unique deal, though. Like, this is a different kid. And I do think, like, the one thing, to pull off what he pulled off, your football character has to be through the roof.
Right, which is what they want.
Right, like your football, like without even sitting down and talking to him, which he's great in that setting too, to have the stamina, the mental focus, the competitiveness, like to pull off what he pulled off.
Yeah.
Like playing 120 snaps at that level of college football is
so
crazy.
The plan of put him at receiver and then maybe move him off makes no sense to me. Like this is the last place that has not had a 1,000-yard receiver in the entire league since 2019. Like if he even gets to 800 as a rookie, keep him in there and develop him. Because the other part about this that you don't see as much on defense, he'll need to develop a chemistry with Drake Maye. You can have him go out and play corner, and you have a couple of different checks. Like, that is a simple position. The mental part of playing corner is just, I give up a catch, I got to move on.
Yeah.
Okay? It's next play. The mental part of receiver in this offense is so much of the timing and the development and the options and everything that goes into reading different coverages. I think if you have him at receiver, especially because, like you said, he's less refined. Let's get those ball skills and that refinement in here with now finally an adult receivers coach for the first time in years.
And we could talk about this till we're blue in the face, but again, like I think the cool thing about like the argument that we're having is both ideas are really valid.
Yeah.
Which gives you so many chances to get this right. You know what I mean? Like with a player, you generally have generally you draft a player. He is like, this is the position where we see him at. This is how we're going to play him.
Yeah,
this is our crack.
He's a legit generational prospect. Like that's the best part of this. Either you get a blue chip edge rusher who could go number one any year in the draft, or you get one of the best players to ever put on a college football uniform.
For more Patriots analysis and opinion, hit this playlist. And for all the latest from the Sports Hub, download the app at 985thesportshub.com.